Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to Elements of Success. I am your host, Talha Jarrad. We are talking about a very exciting topic. We are talking about success, how you can achieve and attain the maximum success in this life. As a matter of fact, we as Muslims, we talking about success in not only this life, but to achieve the maximum in this life and also the maximum in the hereafter. Now this is very important because as Muslims, our definition of success really spans way beyond the definition of success nowadays by the Western society. We as Muslims not only live for this life, but also live for the hereafter. And as a matter of fact, the success in the hereafter is at the same or even more important than the success in this life. Now, we've mentioned before that Islam teaches us to be the most successful people in this life and the hereafter. As a matter of fact, not only to be successful, but to achieve the maximum success in everything we do. We said before that the Prophet, peace be upon him, said, for us, when you pray for heaven, do not just ask for heaven, but ask for paradise. And he said, why? Because it is the top of heaven and the best of all heavens. This is a lesson for us to learn as Muslims how to define success, how to work with success, and what success means to achieve the maximum, to look for the maximum, not just to get anything done. And we mentioned before that successful people have certain qualities, and this is among all successful people. We said that successful people have clarity, so they are clear of what they want, they have visions, they have mission, they have values, they have goals in this life. And we will learn on this program how to plan for all of these things, how to learn how to achieve success, how to learn how to put together our plan, our minds, our effort, everything to achieve success in this life. This is one thing. We said also all successful people have courage. You can't achieve something, anything in life without having the courage to go beyond your imaginary limits. Successful people are realistic. Successful people, they don't just wish for things. They don't live in an imaginary world. The successful people do not just think of things that are not realistic. They look at things as they are. They see things as they are, and then they build their plans accordingly. So that's another thing. And we said also that successful people are responsible. As a matter of fact, successful people are the most responsible people. And the more you become responsible, the more you become successful. So the higher the responsibility level, the more successful you become. Now, we as Muslims, we all are responsible about what we do in this life and also in the hereafter. And Allah taught us in the Quran that in the Day of Judgment, each one of us will come alone, will meet Allah alone, and we will be questioned about what we've done in this life on an individual basis. It's not a kind of group responsibility, it's a personal responsibility of everything that we have done in this life. Now, well, so we said before that success is really something achievable, attainable, something predictable. And we mentioned also some of the visions that some people have. We said, for example, that Bill Gates had a vision to have a PC in every home. And he out of this vision, which at the time there was actually, nobody believed in this. Nobody even cared about it. At that time, computer technology was so complex. But he believed that one day it will reach to a point where this will become reality. And he achieved all of his wealth out of this thing. So we said that successful people have certain things in mind. They have certain goals. And there are ways that you can achieve success. And there are ways that if you follow them, you will get the same result as others. Well, one of the things that we will talk about is we're going to explain the concept of success. We will discuss the concept of success, how to achieve success, how to become more successful, what is success is all about, what is the knowledge that you need to be successful, what are the skills that you need to be successful. We're going to talk about really things that are exciting, something about how to integrate the mind and the soul and the body, all of them together, and how to make them all as one component. We will then talk about emotional intelligence. Now, emotional intelligence is very important, and I would like to highlight this. Let me give you an example. Let's say that some people, they have, let's say, short temper. They get angry very quickly. They probably quickly can be tipped off. Anybody can talk to them about a few things, and they just quickly they just explode. This is something very important. Understanding your emotions and knowing how to deal with your emotions is very critical. It's very important. We all know the story of a man who came to the Prophet and he asked the Prophet, give me an advice. Well, the Prophet said, do not be angry. He said, give me another advice. He said, do not be angry. He said, give me a third advice. He said, do not be angry. Why? The Prophet knew that this is something very important. And most of the studies nowadays focus on anger and how to manage your anger. We're going to talk about this in details later on. Now, this is about emotional intelligence. We will learn about emotional intelligence, how we deal with our emotions, how we know ourselves deeply, how we understand ourselves, what happens inside. And the more we understand ourselves, the more we become aware of what's going on inside, the more we can achieve more in life, because now we can control what happens. You see, a lot of people have never had the chance to sit down with themselves, to think about themselves. What is their strength? What are the weak points that they have? How to control them? We're going to go on a very exciting journey, a very exhilarating journey to know more about ourselves so we can achieve more in life. Now, one of the other things that are very important is that we're going to learn how to build confidence. You see, nobody has achieved in life overnight. Everybody who achieved spent some time till he achieved what he wanted. We know the story of stories of the prophets. Some prophets spent 950 years and they only had limited number of followers. The Prophet spent 23 years to convey the message of Islam. And so on and so forth. Everybody has to go through this to build over time the success. Now the Prophet left this earth, but his message, his religion spread all over. It became part of everything that happens in life. And this is the nice thing about achievement. Achievement goes beyond your life. Achievement, goals, vision, they can take you way more than your limited life, your current circumstances, and gets you to things and levels that you've never thought of before. Now, how to achieve this also requires knowing the tools, the techniques. There must be steps that you have to follow. It is something that, as we said before, is something that you learn. The more you learn about the skills required for success, the more you become successful. The tools that you need, the ideas that you have to learn, even your thinking process, how you change your thinking process to become more successful. And this is a very exciting topic. And we will talk extensively about this later on in the future. Now, let me ask you this question. This is a very important question. How old are you? Now, of course, I don't expect you to answer me right now, but answer yourself. How old are you? Well, when do you think you're going to die? Of course, everybody says, Allah knows, I might die tomorrow, today, 20 years, but in general, we know that people nowadays live an average 70 years. So whatever your age is, you still have a lot of time. Even if you're 50 years old and you're going to live for 75, 80 years, we're going to have for you 30 years. 30 years of life. What are you going to do with this? Do you want to plan for this 30 years or not? And what do you want to achieve in it? 30 years is really a long time. Now, if you are younger, then it becomes really more critical. If you are 30 years old, 25, or in your 40s, this is even more exciting. You're going to have probably 40 years ahead of you. Probably you're going to have 35 years ahead of you. This is a long period of time. What should you do with this? Let me also mention something else to you. What would you do if today was the day of judgment? Well, you were doing anything at your hand, and all of a sudden it actually happened. The day of judgment actually happened. What would you do? You see, Islam teaches us the principle of work, the principle of building for the future, irrespective of the outcome. We all know what the Prophet said, that if the day of judgment starts and you are planting a plant, you are planting it, and now the day of judgment started. Now there is nobody to benefit out of this plant. There is nothing that you expect an outcome from it. But the Prophet said, if the day of judgment starts and you are planting a plant, what should you do? Just leave it and run away and go and pray 2 rak'ah? No. He said, plant it, plant it, plant it. So this is very important. You have to think of this all of the time. You have to think that I have to do for my future. I have to plant it. I have to work on it, and I have to plan it. And as I said, irrespective of your age, don't say, well, this is not for me. I've already passed. I've now finished my work. I'm now retired. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What matters really is, what is it that you're going to have in this life left behind? What's your legacy? What people would say about you? How people would remember you? Would they say, well, he lived on the side of the life, or he accomplished, achieved? You might have things in life that might change your entire life. Let me give you a story, a very interesting story. Well, a man was diagnosed with cancer, and he went to the doctor. The doctor said, you only have 6 months to live. And the doctor started talking to him and said, well, why are you really in this cancer? What happened? What's wrong? He said, well, I am a physician myself. I'm a doctor myself. But my father and mother, they forced me to go to medicine. I don't like medicine. I like architecture. But they forced me to go to medicine. And I hate this subject. I hate this topic. And now I have this cancer. We said, listen to me. I give you an idea. Why don't you go and enjoy the rest of your 6 months doing some architecture? Do some work. Since you really enjoy it, why don't you spend the rest of your life, this remainder of your life, the 6 months, and on a journey to learn more about architecture? The man liked the idea. He started learning about architecture. He spent time, energy, and 6 months passed, a year passed, 2 years passed. This man was cured of his cancer. Why? He changed his life. He changed everything surrounding it, and he started working. Now, once you start working, you will see results in your life that you've never expected. You will see changes in your life. So remember what the Prophet said, plant it. Plant it. Irrespective of your age, irrespective of your environment, irrespective of your circumstances, you have to plant it. And this is an advice from the Prophet. So work on it, and let's continue our energy to achieve the maximum that we can in this life and the hereafter. Thank you for watching. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.